everybody. Welcome to Talking Cars with Consumer Reports. I'm Tom Muchler.
And I'm John Lincove.
I'm Gabe Shanhar.
You know, a comparison test of the Infiniti Q50 and Lexus IS sounds like it should be a recipe for good times. Mid-$40,000 comparison sedans. But the news has already gotten out that we weren't really too impressed. What happened, Gabe? What happened?
The IS was trying really hard to be sporty, but it isn't. It just isn't. Doesn't have the kind of recipe.
Well, I mean, we bought a very base IS.
Yeah, we bought an IS 250 all-wheel drive, which is about 80% of how these cars are going to be bought. And as opposed to every other magazine out there that tested the 350 in the F edition and completely ignored the 80% of the line.
Right, what about the Q50?
The Q50 is really having a hard time repeating the success of the G37, which is an impressive car. And it's really hard to see where the Q50 is an improvement over the G.
So John, what do you think of these two cars?
I hate the IS with so much passion.
You know what I hate? You hold back.
I do.
You just,
So here's the thing. You talked about how
bottle it all up.
We bought a base version of the IS, but so many of the things that are wrong with the IS aren't really changed if you get a big engine. Okay,
Yeah.
A big engine makes some things nice, but the interior is cramped. The styling makes it difficult to get in and out of. Fine, you get the 250 and you have the sluggishness and the poor fuel economy, and you get the all-wheel drive, you get the hump underneath the driver's footwell area.
Yeah, that's crappy design. Every other all-wheel drive sedan, there's no hump hiding the transport.
Well, maybe like the first generation 325 iX. Maybe.
Well, they thought they're hiding it because for the Japanese market, it's on the passenger side. And
Very
apparently
clever.
they're not complaining.
Or passengers. Passengers in America love it.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, the IS just, it doesn't do anything well. Like you said, it's incredibly cramped. The controls with the Lexus mouse-like control.
Well, I will say that the small V6, I mean, it may not be very powerful, but it's very refined, it's very smooth, and here it has an edge over most of the turbocharged four-cylinders.
In refinement.
Yes, not in power, not in torque, not in response.
Because, I mean, you start to look at the numbers of this thing. 0 to 60 is I think, 8.6 seconds, 21 miles per gallon. Come on.
Sucks down the fuel like there's no tomorrow.
A new Acura Mdx is faster, has a third row of seats, can tow 5,000 pounds, and it gets 20, you know.
And here you don't even have a place where to put your sunglasses in.
No, there's very little storage inside of it. The rear seat got bigger, but it's still nothing great.
Yeah, it's for shorter people. And the buttons, the tiny little buttons on the radio bring you back to the 80s. I'll tell you what, they would have done a lot better if they took the old mold of the IS300 that first came out and sold that car instead. It's just, that was much more
a fairly gonzo
That's a sporty car, but that's a sporty sedan.
But you see, here's the thing. People think we're nuts. And I'll tell you why. Because 3 of the 4 big enthusiast monthlies, Road and Track, Car and Driver, Automobile, they said the IS350 F Sport was the dog's bollocks.
Right.
Well, to those who are not married to a Brit, that it was awesome sauce.
Yeah, it's a fast car. It's great. It drives really well. It's sporty. You have one person in the car and it's fantastic. But you know what? If you read those reports and you go to the fanboy world and you get all hot and bothered by it, and then you go to the dealer and this is the car you need because you live in the Northeast and you have maybe kids or something, you're not living the F Sport life. You're living I made a mistake life.
I mean, they
What
admit
a sad life that is.
80% of the sales are going to be the 250. And even if you got the bigger engine, I don't think you're really curing any of some of the fundamental ailments of this car.
I mean, the bigger engine's much more entertaining.
Yeah, and plus you get the 8-speed automatic with that car, which
if you get
makes
rear
it
drive,
really slick.
If you get rear drive,
Yes.
if you get all-wheel drive, then you're back to the 6. But I mean, we've driven a 350 F Sport. It just didn't rock our world, I'll tell you.
I even drove it twice, just
Twice.
looking to find that sportiness that everybody else was talking about, and to no avail.
It just doesn't have that spark, and neither does that car. The Q50 has lost whatever spark. I loved the G35 or G37. I often said that if I had to leave here and buy a car, I'd go buy an Infiniti G. That car just,
It's a disappointment.
Boring to drive.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, almost boring.
Almost boring. Well, I mean, the engine helps.
Yeah.
It's a rocket.
Right. I mean, it goes like hell.
The engine's great. You know, you look at this in the sense of the Maxima and the Ultima. You know, the Ultima came up and almost took over. The Maxima just became kind of an afterthought, and whatever they did with it, they made it a little bigger, the power, but it just, there's nothing there. And this is almost the same thing, where you look at the G, and you're like, wow, you could even still possibly
Which they still sell.
get one.
They still sell the G.
Exactly, for less money.
It's like Zombieland at Nissan. The Rogue is still there.
Son of Rogue, Rogue
That's
2,
right.
Son of G.
Road Classic.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't understand that. And then you get to the control screen and the sluggish startup, waiting, loading. Like, no, I'm ready to go. Let's.
I'm ready to change my radio.
Let's get going here, you know.
Yeah, there are some frustrations with that car. And the fit and finish isn't even all that impressive.
No, there's a big gap around the seat, big gap around some of the trim in the back. And the other thing is that there's many other things. It gets crazy expensive. If you went blind spot in that, you need to spend, let's see, you need to spend $1,000 to get leather, $1,400 to get navigation, $3,100 for the deluxe touring pack, and then $3,200 for the tech pack.
You're at $50,000 if I
$50,000.
counted right there.
Good counting. I didn't even see you move your fingers or toes. Whereas it's like $500. It's a $500 standalone option on that. Or on a Ford Fusion, it's like a couple $100. Also, you know, you make the point of it matters how these cars are optioned. And, you know, I've seen some criticism saying that, you know, we didn't get the car with the direct adaptive steering.
Yeah, that option makes up for about 10-15% of the mix.
Which is going to be 90% of the press cars.
Right. And we, of course, want to test the most representative kind of cars that are pertinent to our consumers. And we've driven the Dynamics.
We've driven.
And I was really disappointed with it. I mean,
Yeah.
it firms up artificially, it lightens up artificially. I don't think it's all that what it's cracked to be.
And again, doesn't solve all the other ills. Doesn't solve the price. You know, it doesn't solve the fit and finish. You know, there's other problems than just, you know, the artificial steering.
Yeah, no, the steering has a bunch of settings. You can adjust response, you can adjust weight. And,
It's a great talking point for the PR department.
Sure, but you know, our theory is get it right. Just get the damn car right on the base setting. See, and that's the thing that bugs me. You buy a Cadillac ATS, you buy any Cadillac ATS, and it is a blast to drive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here you're making these excuses. Oh, you got to get the F Sport. You have to get the direct adaptive steering. No, you should.
You got to get the basic fundamentals right, no question.
Speaking about basic fundamentals, we bought ourselves a Mercedes CLA, which is a rather different type of Mercedes.
It's a totally new breed of a Mercedes. And I mean, I think it looks great. It looks like a mini CLS, four-door coupe. I mean, it's got that pointed star on it. People are going to see the price, $35,000. It's semi-affordable.
Yep, there are 4 reasons people
They're
are going to
gonna
buy
buy it.
this car. The car looks awesome. It's got the 3-pointed star, the price seems kind of cheap, and the car looks awesome.
Yeah, in fact, I pulled into our Yonkers facility the other day, and the guy opened the window. He was like, "Oh my God, it's a great car. That's fantastic." And then a guy at the daycare said, "That looks great." And then I said, "I hate this car almost as much as the IS." Because of the cramped interior.
Why are you so angry
I mean,
inside? Why is John?
Because he's driven too many Mercedes in the past. So if you've driven a lot of Mercedes
That's how I roll.
Benz in the past, you know these cars are solid and thoroughly engineered cars, which this car is not.
Wow, you're saying it's not thoroughly engineered.
Well,
I mean,
it's a different breed of a Mercedes. I mean, it's a
so it's
cost-oriented.
not a real Mercedes. Is that
It's not a
basically
real
it?
Mercedes. It's not real. It's a small, noisier kind of Mercedes. It doesn't ride or handles like a real Mercedes.
I was thinking it almost harkens back in some bad ways to the baby Benz era of the 80s. You know, here's a cost-cutting, cost-conscious, bringing in at the
The
low price.
190 though was, I mean, that was a Mercedes.
Yeah, that was a real Mercedes.
It was in
I'm not saying
being
it was
rear-wheel
driven.
drive, you know, but still, it was one of those things where, you know, the complaints were the touch points, the refinement, because those cars were so stately, and here you bring in this car that it's cramped, you need that panoramic sunroof that we got, because without that thing, it's a tomb. It is a tomb inside that car.
I mean, I'd even say, you bring a front-wheel drive Mercedes, maybe you should consider giving it a different brand. Maybe make it a Smart.
Wow. Because Smart's going to sound better than Mercedes.
I don't know.
Well, make it
but
like Mini,
look
like
at,
Mini.
I mean,
Oh, Mini, yeah.
I mean,
Maybe.
here's the thing. I mean,
Maybach, they're not doing much with that.
BMW also is offering a lower cost entry, and they have the X1, which at $35,000, $37,000, same price as that CLA, it's giving you an all-wheel drive, small SUV that's based on the previous generation 3 Series.
Well,
That's a real BMW.
You hit on a good point. I mean, a CLA is not $29,900. First of all, you need to pay $920 unless
That's
you're
on
going
paper.
unless you're going to Hungary to get the car. You got to pay $925 to get it to you. And then with normal options, ours was like $36,500.
And no backup camera.
No backup.
And it
camera.
has like a knockoff iPad mini with the world's biggest bezel just kind of slapped in there. And I've talked to people in the G-Wagon. Okay, the car was built when 8-tracks were, cutting edge.
Yeah.
You squeeze it where you can, you put it on there, and you go. But it just looks so out of place and so cheap.
The thing is, you mentioned the front-wheel drive. I think most of the people who buy this car will have absolutely no idea what wheels are being driven in this car.
They won't care.
I also think most of these buyers, they will not be coming from the sublime driving E-Class or even the very nice, the C-Class has gotten better over the years. They're not going to know that ride and handling balance.
Or quietness that is synonymous with the Mercedes-Benz.
Well, maybe they have an Altima and they're stepping up a little bit in the lease or something like that.
I mean, for all you know, they're
maybe.
coming out of a slammed Civic.
Coming out of, well, they could have bought the Acura ILX,
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I tell you what, the CLA is the best argument for a entry-level C-Class that I can make right now.
Yeah, and I bet you it won't lease for too much. C-Class is nearing the end of its life. It gets updated.
You can get into a C-Class probably and be much more happy for your 3-year lease.
Yeah, we got 2,000 miles on that Mercedes. We're going to test it soon. Yeah, we'll see how it does. But first impressions are, well, as you might have heard, first impressions are not overwhelmingly positive. We got a question from a reader. Is the new Honda Accord hybrid a game changer? Seems like Honda has the best hybrid now with their hybrid system. Your thoughts?
It's a really slick system.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
damn
got some
straight it is.
unique things there. I mean, it actually works like a true electric vehicle sometimes. And I mean, let's not get into the nitty-gritty here, but in reality, the bottom line, people are going to care about the MPG. And I think we're getting 38, 39 MPG, which is right in line with the Camry hybrid and Fusion hybrid. So no matter how you slice it, it's a slick powertrain. It's finally a full hybrid that Honda made.
Yeah, because Honda's
it can be driven
half-assed hybrids.
Right,
Yeah.
Totally half-assed hybrids, that IMA thing. Hopefully that's a...
They're atoning for that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it'd be nice to see them move that to the next
Hopefully
to other cars.
that'll creep into other hybrids from Honda.
Yeah, I drove the car last night. We have a press car. We'll be buying our test car real soon. It goes on sale real soon. Yeah, it's very impressive. I mean, we'll see if it beats out the Ford Fusion Hybrid for best fuel economy. I think it has a shot. I mean, it's rated at 47 miles per gallon.
Yeah, too bad the rear seat doesn't fold though.
But I mean, even in normal Accords, they only give you a solid folding rear
Right.
seat. So,
Oh, God. Another anger-inducing.
John's so angry. I think we better talk about something that makes John happy. We had a Maserati Ghibli to drive.
Very nice, very fun, makes great noises from the twin-turbo V6. And I don't care that it has Chrysler parts inside of it.
It's got a lot of
fine.
Chrysler parts inside.
You know what?
I mean, come on. I've got like a Dodge Dart.
they work. I
headlight
mean,
knob.
that-
The world is flat. The
The
world is
Uconnect.
flat, my friend. We've
Are
decided
you
that.
Malcolm Gladwell? What the hell?
Thomas
The
Friedman,
world-
Tom Friedman.
we're back
Thank
here.
you, yeah.
This is how we have affordability. We share parts, Bentley, Audi, Lamborghini,
I mean, that was a brilliant move by Fiat to buy Chrysler. I mean, they have access to this chassis, the old Mercedes-Benz chassis that the Chrysler 300 Dodge Chargers sit on. Now you make a more affordable Maserati. You have access to the Grand Cherokee M-Class chassis. You're going to make an SUV Maserati. I mean, that's a brilliant.
You're leveraging parts.
product
I mean,
planning,
and
yeah.
it's paying off because this car is $75,000.
Yeah. It's fun to drive, super stable, quiet enough. Pop the buttons. You get the nice sonorous exhaust.
Fiat does exhaust really well. I mean, the
It
Abarth
sings.
and
Yeah,
this.
I mean,
Don't have people in the rear seat.
It's not the biggest.
Not the biggest.
Ferrari engine. There's just nothing that sounds like it.
Here's the one thing on what you're talking about. Let's look forward. Let's hope they keep the momentum going with those borrowed platforms and inherited platforms and shared engineering, and it doesn't have a drop off, because you'll set yourself up for failure. You know, you have these great platforms you inherited, got to keep it moving.
But here's the thing, they are also working on new platforms, which brings us to the next car we're going to talk about, the Jeep Cherokee. We've driven a couple Cherokees over the time, haven't had a lot of seat time in any of them. But you know, it's a solid car where they needed a solid car.
Very solid. I mean, it has very quiet interior. It feels solid. It rides well. It's not a handler like an Escape.
No, it's
but
not.
It's pretty decent. And I mean, offering the off-road ability and the what's the name of that?
The Trailhawk.
Trailhawk.
The press car. We'll show the video here. It climbs up our rock hill.
It works.
Really easily.
I mean, it does it. Yeah.
Do you think people who are buying, I hate the term crossover. The term it's like, but do you think people who are buying crossovers care about off-road capability?
Probably not.
But if it has the name Jeep on it, it damn well better go off-road.
Yeah.
It better be a talking point. It's much like Land Rovers and Range Rovers. You know, when they cross that
They're
country,
really good off-road,
when they
though.
cross that country club threshold onto the grass for parking, that's where 90% of them, because that's the way people roll.
It has a styling attitude. It has those loops in the front and then different tires and the ride height. So
they did some styling things with it. The thing is, though, is that they've built approximately 30,000 of these, and they're sitting on lots waiting for the final transmission calibration to get that 9-speed right.
It's the first 9-speed automatic in any car in the world, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I mean, you know, I was in a Jeep dealer not too long ago. There are people who want to buy this car.
Certainly.
It's far better in the Compass or the Patriot. They really want to buy this car, but they can't. It's just sitting there trying to get that calibration.
I think it's going to become their best seller. I mean, it's going to there's no reason for the Patriot and Compass anymore.
No, and they're doing, you know, we're a little frustrated that we don't have a Cherokee yet, but they're doing the right thing, sitting on it, trying to get the calibration right.
Yeah.
Got another reader question to answer. Great show, guys. Need your help to choose a car. Have a 2003 BMW M3 since 2005. He's all done with the harsh ride and expensive repairs. Want comfort, reliability, and height. City dweller, one child, Boston with a very steep driveway, 10-mile round-trip commute, open to new or used with 40 grand budget, can buy or lease. What do you get?
It's really dangerous coming out of a BMW.
X1 with the 6.
You're not getting out of the stiff ride.
You're getting some
You get
height.
a little bit of height.
Still sporty.
Even the Turbo 4.
Yeah, you get the Turbo 4,
The X1.
sure.
Well, you're going to have to get the Turbo 4 to stay under 40 grand.
That's a good point.
Does he mention price? Because
Under 40,000.
Under 40. It's going to be,
It cuts
X1.
off everything because a Q5, anything that you normally would say, a Q5 or a BMW X3, they're around 42, 43.
He didn't say new or used, because he has
he can
3 that he bought in
open
05.
to new or used.
Yeah, okay. So
Maybe a used 2011 X3 with the normally aspirated
inline
6.
I'm thinking a used Acura Mdx.
for in Boston, a little big.
Yeah,
We own
it's not a city
I own
dweller.
an MDX. My wife uses it. It's big. If you have one
I'm a
kid,
Durango. I can live in Boston just fine. People get out of my way.
yeah, you'll have those like bumper guard things and the door ding bars.
Docking,
and
big deal.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He has a nice car. Probably wants to keep it. Good shape. I would get it a little smaller. You know, maybe he has on-street parking. Maybe, you know, you're looking.
It sounds like he might have a driveway. Well, he has a very steep driveway, so
Yeah.
he's got a place to put it.
I would stay. I like the idea of the X1 because it keeps it in the sporty, small family type of thing.
One other thing I want to throw out is an Acura RDX. It doesn't handle as well. They don't. They feel kind of big, but it's got a sweet engine. It's going to be reliable. You get a lot of car there for $37,000.
Yeah, but if you're bored after 2 years, you end up spending more money.
Yeah, the resale will be fine. Speaking of troubling resale, to CR, what do you think about used Chevrolet Captivas? First of all, what's a Captiva?
So the Captiva is the.
It's pure genius.
Well, it's pure genius. It's the old View
The old
from
Saturn
our Saturn
View.
View world when they've gone away, rebadged as a Chevrolet product.
It's back.
It's
Again,
back.
It's another
a zombie.
It's another zombie car.
Right there. It's in honor of Walking Dead coming back. We have, the Chevrolet Captiva. I see them all over on the road. It's kind of a fleety vehicle, but now you can get them at dealers. It still doesn't improve upon what the View had, which wasn't.
It wasn't
really
a bad car,
Yeah,
actually. I mean, it was
well,
heavy and
Mileage wasn't
sucked
great.
fuel. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that View was like a generation and a half ago GM. Not a horrible car, good-looking car.
Yeah, handling's pretty good, pretty quiet.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
I don't want to own one.
You know, you get a great price on it. Maybe it's one of those, you know, you get some kind of huge knockoff on it. But aside from that, there's plenty of other good. I mean, buy an Escape that's pre-owned, or you know, buy
Well,
a
Escapes aren't reliable.
CRV.
New Escapes
Yeah,
aren't
that
reliable.
was in the previous chapter there, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine how old View technology is going to be.
They've probably gotten the thing worked out. I mean, it's okay. You know, I like you. I think there's a dealer around here who either sells a bunch of them fleet or buys them at
Right.
auction. You see a lot
You
of
see
them.
a lot of them up
because
here.
a lot of them are rental cars. But
Why would you want a rental car to buy a previous rental car anyway, period, no matter what car it is?
Yeah, we've seen you in rental cars at auto shows. I wouldn't buy one.
remember, the best off-roader's a rental car.
Remember.
And the loss insurance waivers, you should take those.
That's right. One other thing, lots of readers have commented, they're very kind people. They've commented that they want Consumer Reports to pay up and get us more comfortable chairs.
I agree. I accept.
Except. Yeah. The one thing is, I encourage those people to go back to episodes 1 or 2, where we are sitting in comfortable chairs. We're slouched like Al Bundy. I mean, it's not flattering. I mean, these chairs, our camera guys love them because they actually give us good posture. They're like on The Simpsons, the ultralight perfect posture chair. It's
Yeah, all the camera guys, that's you guys, all the media people are always like, no, sit up, have your posture. I'm going to give you the worst chair possible so you keep your back straight instead of just kind of...
Actually, we will be getting new chairs because we borrowed these from the headquarters in Yonkers, and they're crazy expensive. But trust me, they won't be comfortable. But I do thank you so much for looking out for us. So we covered a lot in this episode. We're going to wrap it up here. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you for listening.